Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is November 25th, 1442 on the ancient
Fuck you,
calendar,
Pauline. Why haven't you taken over
on
first
the ancient sun calendar, and 2021 on the Greco-Roman calendar. So we want to start today with, since today is a day that the subject.
Tell everybody about your inability to do demonstrations. Taking over First Avenue, Pauline. Why can't you take over First Avenue, Pauline? What's the problem? You can't do a demonstration properly, Pauline.
So today is Thanksgiving, supposedly, and we're saying Thanksgiving in red in all lowercase letters. And so let's talk about what that really means. I believe we've gotten all of the subjects out, the belligerent. Some of the subjects can be belligerent, but we let them anyway. So let's keep going. Is Islam.
I'm trying to get in on the computer.
Oh, okay. Just one moment. It's unlocked. Go ahead.
Okay, just a minute. I got to put it back up now.
Okay. So let's discuss today. So on page 3 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, as divinely prepared by the Holy Prophet judicialle, it states that the lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity, as I am a prophet and the servant is worthy of his hire, you can receive this pamphlet all expense. Okay? So, what the prophet is saying there is that he's the prophet and he produced this Holy Quran, and then he points to the servant who published it. Okay, so he had a publishing company who published it, and they did that as a service, so they were in service. And that's where the prophet is not saying that he's a servant worthy of hire. He is saying he's a prophet, because that's what he just said. He said, I am the prophet, and then a servant is worthy of their hire, so this you can get this book at expense, because they were working in that fiat system around that time the transition was happening. And so the prophet was not calling himself a servant. He was referring to the publishers and printers of the book. In keeping with letting our servants know that they are worthy of hire, we call this day ande shukr. Okay? Ande is H-A-M-D. Hamdi is to thank the Moors, Allah, for something because they gave you, the pilgrims, something out of their noble generosity. That's what Hamdi is when the pilgrims are thanking the Moors for their generosity. When the pilgrims first arrived here, and pilgrims are now subjects, when the subjects first arrived here, they were hungry, they were poor, they were tired, and they were desperate. They sought refuge here on our land. They were so desperate that some had even resorted to cannibalism. So we gave them food, clothing, shelter, the law, and a purpose for being here. Because we said you can't just come here and be standing around doing nothing, because an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So we're going to give you all jobs. So the law that we gave them in order to secure their standing as subjects on our land includes the Constitution for the United States, 1789 and 1791. Their purpose is to serve lawfully and peacefully. That is the purpose of the pilgrim/subjects on our land. Okay? Where we Moors are concerned, it is also our purpose to serve in the furtherance of the vast estate. So we're serving ourselves, okay? And we're serving our heirs and our future posterity and for the furtherance of the vast estate. That is what our service is all about. Because our prophet said in that same Holy Quran to assist your brothers and sisters. So that is what our service is to one another. Okay? And then meanwhile, the subjects, their service is to all Moors as well. Okay? So we serve in order to preserve, expand, and enjoy our land. Our service is for the greater good, for the individual good, for the greater good over the individual good. Okay? So our service is to, we have to keep in mind the whole and do what's best for all of us over our individual good. Now, that's not to say that we don't have any individual good, because we do, you know. But if at any time that individual good comes in conflict with the greater good, then we yield our individual good to the greater. Which brings us to the second part of what we call today, ande shukr. Shukr is a very different energy, and it's a higher level of human conduct. Shukr is when the pilgrim, the subject, came and actually shukr is when the pilgrim and Moors alike employ all of the resources that have been given to us and to them, because we give them resources, and then we also give ourselves resources. And so shukr is when we take those resources and use them to further the healthy, peaceful, prosperous growth, expansion, and longevity of ourselves, for we are the Empire State of Morocco, the de jure Moorish National Republic Federal Government, and the Moorish American Consulate. Shukr for the pilgrims who are subjects on our land means utilizing what they have been given by us to benefit all of humanity for the sake of Allah, the Moors alone. Okay? So this is moving beyond benefiting just themselves. Is there a benefit in serving the Moors for the subjects? Yes, there is a benefit. That means they're no longer hungry, poor, tired, and desperate. That means they have a roof over their heads, food to eat, and they can get a little bit of rest while they serve. Okay? Shukr is higher and loftier than hamde, but they work together. It is easy for someone to take benefit and say thank you, thereby displaying hamde. Hamde is saying thank you for something, for the generosity of the Moors. That's what this day was for, hamde, for them. Shukr is for all of us and them alike. Okay, so it is quite something else to use time, energy, money, body, mind, possessions, and life to benefit all others for the sake and pleasure of Allah, the God energy, which is within all of us. This is shukr. At this time of the year and every day, we Moors are to use all that we have been given to benefit the entire vast estate. We use this time to come together and unify and reflect on how we have used our resources and to find better ways to use them that benefit the human collective. As we continue accessing the vast estate, this will be our highest priority, all for the collective, all for the uplifting of rising humanity. And so today we say happy hamde shukra to all of rising humanity, to the Moors as well as to our subjects on the land. We say happy hamde shukra. That is what today is all about. And Moors, today is a day where you can sit back and just take in the thanks that is being given, as well as taking the thanks energy that is given by the subject and saying, okay, even with this energy, how can we make our estate better and use our resources better in order to enhance and enrich the collective? as long as we are giving and being the source of the resources will never end. Okay? So happy ande shukr to the Moors. It is all about abundance and wealth. And I'll say this even about ande shukr. The subjects, whenever there is a quote-unquote presidential election and they have their, they elect a president of their corporation or their company, rather, the first thing that comes out of all of their mouths is, we're going to improve infrastructure. Improving infrastructure. Well, infrastructure is in service to the Moors. We said, okay, you all have to have jobs now that you're on our land, because the jobs are for them. And any Moors who want a job. Let's just put it that way, because sovereigns can do whatever they want to do. Our job really is to govern the vast estate. That's really our job. Okay, our job is to implement our economy so that no more ever goes without. That's our job. And our job is securing this vast estate for our heirs and their heirs and their heirs into perpetuity, just like our ancestors did for us. So even as we're moving forth in ande shukr and the spirit of ande shukr, we're saying that all of the resources that we access, okay, because the resources are here, they're ours. But when we see a resource, even if it's a conveyance or a domicile or whatever it is, we must take the energy that says this domicile is for our, it is to advance the vast estate. It is to advance the growth, expansion, and prosperity of our estate. That is the energy by which anything is gained in what we're doing. So our job in this whole, and apologies for that. Our job in this growth of our vast estate is to ensure that the estate remains secure and that those who are here on our vast estate know what the law is, and they know what the law is, and that our vast estate remains peaceful, prosperous, and that all Moors remain in their proper status, and that we are all speaking with one voice. So we have to unify even further than we are right now. Yes, we're unified because we're awake, we know who we are, but we have to do more of that. We have to come together even more. And, it has been stated that us coming together it might be a little painful, for some. I'm hoping that it's not painful. I hope that we come together because we want to be together and not out of pain. But I know that some, because we have our own minds about things, and because sovereigns, we already know that we do things the way that we want to do them, it may take a little harder lessons for some to come and be themselves. And for those, we will stay focused on the vast estate while they learn their lessons, and then we'll always be here to assist if they need us to assist them. But we have to come together. We must unify. We must unify, especially where we're going now in the vast estate, because we are coming out of what would be considered the shadows, but it's not really the shadows. We're coming out, and we need to be unified out, because that whole harvest, the harvest, and I say that word is almost not even enough. The harvest of Moors that are waking up now and that will be waking up, we're going to make things a lot easier for them, okay? Because we will already have these foundations and these structures put in place so that we're not going to cripple anyone, because you can, if a child is learning to walk and you pick them up every time they fall, they're never going to learn to walk. So Moors have to have room to know their power, and that is, we have to give them that, but we are here to assist in any way that we can, and we put a lot of information out there. From this point forward also, I want to say that, and we'll talk about this a little while later, from this point forward, we are going to have calls by announcement instead of having them regularly every Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. We will only have calls when we announce that we're going to have a call. And that's based on what we hear from the Moors. So a lot of Moors have a lot of questions about a lot of things. And if the questions seem to be a lot of them seem to be geared in one direction, we'll have a call about that subject matter. Having said that, our bodies are changing with this new transition that's going on. So if you're seeing more things going on with your body, it's because our bodies are changing. And the things that are going on with our bodies is simply a reminder to manage and govern our pH levels, the levels of acidity and alkaline in our bodies. And the three things that I have found that will provide us with instant alkaline body to a great degree. Number one is water. Number two is natural sea salt that we get from the water. So any Moors who have bodies of water by where you are in your territory, you can go to that body of water, test it and see if it's salty. And I usually just stick my finger in it and taste it and see if it's salty, especially because I'm out here by the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. I just test it to see if it's salty, and if it's salty, then I can take that water home and boil it down to the salt, and then let the salt dry and use it. And the salt contains so many natural minerals that are automatically going to fit with our body chemistry that it will have us alkaline within 24 hours. And that's regardless of what you eat, even prior to. So that's number two. And number three, anything with sulfur in it. For example, things like medicated shampoos. There's one called Selsun Blue that has it's a It's not a natural sulfur, but it's a good place to start. To use that as a shampoo, but on your, your body and all, and you will see a difference in your skin. But nothing works better than natural sulfur. Another sulfur product is sulfur 8 hair grease, and we all know what that looks and smells like because it has a strong smell. Those things on our skin, and using those regularly will help. But from what I'm seeing thus far, sea salt and sulfur, our bodies will be alkaline very quickly, and any imbalance in our bodies and in our alkaline levels is the start of disease. So we don't want that in our bodies. We want, and I'll say this just to correct that spell, all disease is gone away and does not come back when we use things that are natural, like natural sea salt that we make ourselves. We can make that at home ourselves. I even put, and for those who like coffee, I even put sea salt in the coffee to remove that acidity, because coffee can be very acidic, depending on what brand and what kind and the strength of it and all of that. And there's African coffees. I put one of the recipes on my website, on my Facebook page, by one of our sisters from the other Africa, and it's very alkaline, that form of natural coffee. It's made with natural ginger and masala and those things. So just kind of, there's no need to panic about the changes that are going on in our bodies. We just need to ensure that we do all that we can to make our bodies as alkaline as possible. Fasting helps also. Our grand rising is also ever increasing in speed and authority, velocity, momentum, trajectory, and in ways such as economically, judicially, and in precise execution of erudite precepts. All of the commerce that we do and all of the economics that we do, everything that has to do with the economy, the dollarium, the banks, and all of that is judicial economics. It's judicial financial processes. And all that we do is judicial. What we did not know is that everything that the corporation company was doing, there was always a fake court back there in the background too, or someone pretending to be a judge. So that is why we rebut that with judicial economics and judicial banking, okay? We can also see now the complete delineation between us, the national government, from the things that have to do with the previously out of order, out of alignment United States corporation company with that dead ink. And now we're seeing how we can navigate with the subjects here on the land, okay? We can navigate with them. And when I say with them, again, chapter 29, part of chapter 29 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, at magistrate and subject, so that you will see how that's done. Because that is what we're moving into right now, is working with subjects, again, in order to do what is stated in chapter 29 of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, as written by our holy prophet, Diall. So that delineation, there's been a split between that corpse United States Corporation Company in dead ink and the sovereign heirs. That split is done, complete. We split from them. We're not them, and they're not us. And we know that. We sent them to Guantanamo Bay. So now what we have left is subjects and the United States Corporation Company in blue on the land. They're the ones who, when you look up land patents and you see the actual land patents, they're the ones who went out and, you know, surveyed the land like we told them to do. And we told them to give everything of value, you know, measure the temple. That's in the biblioheliotext, that's what we told them to do, measure the temple. And that's what they did with the land and all of that. Now, having said that, anything that has to do with vaccines and vaccine mandates, that's coming from the dead corporation company. So that does not apply to us. Unless Moors, that's an individual thing. If Moors want that to apply to them, that's their choice. We don't recommend that. In fact, we say don't do it because that is not lawful that they take jurisdiction over our bodies like that. Because that's really what that is an attempt to take jurisdiction over the Moors. That is geared specific towards the Moors. Don't make no mistake about it. They geared it toward us, but it's actually for them. It's for those who, really what's happening is the United States Corporation Company, the corpse one, the dead one, is saying everybody who came here and who's going to be a corpse, you got to take a vaccine because the Moors have said they don't want you, that corpses can't be operating on the land. That's what that really is. That's why it's for them. It's for all of the subjects who have decided that they want to stay in corpse status and they don't want to be subject to the Moors, because we know there's some subjects out there who don't want to be subject to the Moors. Well, if you don't want to be subject to the Moors, you got to go with the rest of the debt and the debt and all of that. Debt and the United States Corporation Company. And they've been given their commands by the Moors. So they're just doing as commanded, taking all of the corpses with them. Okay? So with that being said, are there any questions or comments from the Moors about what has been stated here today? Or any other questions or comments? Thank you so much for the questions that came before recording, Justice Jade. And those are important questions. I almost wish we would have got that recorded because those are questions that other Moors have had about credit and creditors and all of that. Islam.
Thank you.
Islam, nobility.
The brother had a question. Okay. Islam. I wanted to clarify something. This is a different subject, but as we study and move forward, I question: did we recognize them as a nation? I'm thinking it's false.
I say again, Empress, because somewhere along the way you got it.
Did we recognize the United States as a nation?
Corporations cannot govern. They've always been a corporation. So they've always been a corporation.
So I'm thinking, because I've heard Obama say it, I've heard Hillary say it, and so I was thinking maybe that's something we need to rebut, because if the unlearned think that we recognize them as a nation, they may think they have legitimate jurisdiction that can challenge ours because they're thinking that they're a nation too and that we recognize them.
What we really need to do, the best rebuttal for that is us standing up, stating who we really are. And when we and here's the thing, we rebut it every time we do a court action. Because what does the court action language say? All rise and stand and remain standing. We're giving a command to the subjects to stand up in subject status and answer some questions. And in those questions, what do we say to them? Do you understand that that no United States corporation, company, citizen, nor their agents, principals, heirs, assigns, nor any derivatives thereof has personam jurisdiction over the Moors? Do you understand that? That is something that we say in our court actions, and that's why we're encouraging Moors to keep doing the court actions. Whenever you speak to them, you speak in court action language.
Okay.
About
so
your affairs.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. It's long.
Yep. Yes, we are not playing. We're serious about this vast estate because there's been confusion about who's who and what's what. And the best way to clear up confusion is use the law. And our courts are the law 100%. So we are, we're not even playing about that. We put them in their proper status with every court action, everyone. And I will say this, that again, that's not even something that we're guessing at. We had to do it. If we hadn't done it, they'd have jumped out of subject status, and ain't no telling what would have happened during our POW demonstration that we did in February. And we couldn't have that. No. So, if we stick to, and this is just me speaking, if we stick to these processes that we have here, where every time we speak, we're the court. We know we're the court, and we're speaking as the court. We will continue to put them in subject status. With every call that we have, we put them in subject status from the very beginning. Okay? Now, I'll say this too, even about the ones who come in here. They still know they're in subject status, still. They do what they do because there are some Moors who will let that stop them from getting to the estate. And if someone will let a few words on a phone call by hybrid stop them from getting at their estate, are they really ready for their vast estate? Not yet. That's why they do that, because they are gatekeepers. They're gatekeepers. A gatekeeper is a north gatekeeper. They're not going to let any weakness get through there. That's their job. Am I condoning what they do when they come in here? No. That's why we root them out. But their job is, if they see any weakness, mental weakness, anything, spiritual weakness, that's what they're going to be focused on. So we have to be strong and keep moving forward and stay focused. Don't let them distract you. Stay straight focused on the vast estate. Period. That's why we just keep going. They've been doing that for over a year. And look, we've got our own money out now. They're not even saying any of the things they were saying before. They were talking about, oh, your courts are not valid. They don't even say that stuff anymore. So it's all good. And then more, we have to make sure that we keep our egos in check when they start saying things that they say, because they say those things to tap into and elicit an ego response. As it's something to pull up any ego that would say we have to prove something to them. That's why they say what they say, because they want us to get into a defensive mode and try to prove them wrong. They're wrong just because we stand in here. So we don't have to respond to that stuff. Everything already belongs to us. We have the title. So we don't have to prove anything. What our job is to keep moving in competence and at peace and unified with each other. That's our job. That is our job. That's our job. And not let anything they say, because see, you know, a lot of times they will say things about domiciles and our money and things like that. And they just speaking in the land of the dead. We know that. But they will say that because they want the ego to be invoked so that we do something stupid. That's something, and I won't say stupid, something that's incompetent. They want us to move quickly and do something incompetent when everything already belongs to us. So if we just set the ego aside and say we're going to stay focused, yes, Justice Theodore, they're trying to cast a spell, of course. We're immune. We're immune. We do the spell casting. And we spell immune a little different. Immune means that we issue the spells and break the spells, you know. But if we let ego get in the way, we'll be running out there trying to do things when we haven't fully done the study on it. We're in this for the long haul, eternity. And the long haul does not involve going out doing something, trying to prove anything to a subject. But their job is to tap the ego until that ego is put in its proper place. We're not saying get rid of the ego. We're saying put it in its proper place and put it in its right size. Because we didn't create anything that's useless. It has a use. But that use is first for the greater good, to uplift all of fallen humanity, then to assist in any way, you know, that we need for it to be assisted. You know. Are there any other questions or comments or wisdom? Islam. So we will have our call this coming Sunday because I have something that I wanted to show you, and we'll talk about it this Sunday. That there's so many records that are coming available to us. Okay, and for those who did not see the call from yesterday, where we showed in their records where the moorishe money is concerned, okay, go and look back again at yesterday's video, the video that we did for yesterday's call, so that you can see where in the archives, the usarchives.gov website, where they make reference to the moorishe money and actually where it is, who is it that's been keeping account of it. Okay, and that information came forth in a letter by John, quote unquote, John Adams, who was then to become the president of the United States Corporation Company. So all that we say about them being there, they are administrative clerks. Okay, they were supposed to just keep account of everything. That's their job. Keep account. Not exercising any count over us. We keep our own count. Okay? We keep the account of our own affairs. But they were to keep account of anything that they found on the land while they were out surveying, and that's what the tax assessor website is. It's all it is survey records. It doesn't mean that anyone owns anything. That's why there are no titles on that website. So the tax assessor website was the record of them surveying the land. And we told them that if in surveying or in building the infrastructure and putting in roads and things, if they came across any Moorish money, any coinage, anything, to put it in a particular place and put it on the public, give a public accounting of it. Give a public accounting of the money. And in that letter from John Adams, he says, what is it? What happened with the coins that they found? The 300 brass coins that they found. Are those coins Phoenicians or Moorish? And it was determined that the coins are Moorish coins. And they were asking, has the Academy published an account of the coins? Because they know that everything that was found, it must be on the public record. This is Moorish money. This money belongs to the Phoenicians. This money belongs to, and again, we're all one. We're all the same. The Phoenicians, the Moors, we're all one. Okay, so let that go, because there's also a link to the letter under the video from yesterday. With that being said, if there's nothing further, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Happy Yom Kippur.
Islam, peace,
Islam, peace and love.
grand rising.
Be light, grand rising.
Islam. Grand rising.
Grand rising to the more Islam.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Islam.